Edition. I'm Todd Flesner, here along with Debbie Giordano.
How are you?
I'm terrific.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you as well. 2014 is here, and so we're off and running. We're glad folks have joined us here on Channel 26 and have tuned in. And we like to bring folks exciting news about what's happening around Milpitas. And to that end, we have guests that come in and join us and talk about things of interest. And so would you like to introduce our guest today?
I would love to. It's a personal friend of mine, well over 25 years, and we've been connected through real estate. This is John Luke. He's with GD Commercial Real Estate. And John's been involved heavily in the city of Milpitas. And John, you've lived here for quite a while, haven't you?
Oh, I've been living in this city since 75.
I bet we've known each other since that time, too. I think it was an open house that we met each other at. So, well, let's begin. John, tell us about yourself and where you grew up, and tell us about your family.
Well, I grew up in Hong Kong, and I got my nursing diploma and degree from England. Worked for one of the largest hospitals in Hong Kong, and I moved to U.S. in 1975, and then worked for Kaiser Hospital, and been in charge of the emergency room for over 15 years, and then raised my family, married in 1977, and have 2 children. My son is now 33, works for AOL, and my daughter works in Seattle as a mechanical engineer. I'm very happy they're all growing up in the local area in Milpitas, went to school, everything in Milpitas. And my wife went to school in Milpitas as well.
I'll be darned. I did that. I did not. Got to know a little bit more about you.
Right, yeah, local roots are very deep,
Okay.
Oh, terrific. Well, that's terrific. So you've got a background then in the medical industry. What is it that led you into commercial real estate, and what's the education and training that you had to pursue to be successful there?
Now, what happened when I was in the medical field, I volunteered for a lot of the Chinese farmers in the Bay Area. And that time they were in the 70s, 80s, they were in North San Jose area where the regional post office is.
Okay.
So I helped them with the hospital need, legal need, and so I get involved in the community service for them. And then as time, they are migrating to Gilroy, Morgan Hill. So they're talking about real estate. They ask me real estate questions.
Wow.
So I think, well, I should think about a real estate career. But then I find this land development experience quite challenging and interesting, and that's why I'm determined to get into commercial real estate.
So did you begin as a real estate broker, and then what's different in terms of licensing for commercial real estate?
There's no special licensing, but of course you always start buying and selling a house, right, to your family first, right? And then, I make up my mind. I want to get into the commercial arena,
Okay. So now, when you work with commercial buyers and sellers, are you working with existing commercial properties? Are you helping folks develop new properties, repurpose or reuse those? What sort of role do you play there?
Well, originally, I was representing some of the Chinese farmers to sell their land where there's some kind of rezoning or entitlement, but I typically work with some of the home builders. A long time ago, over 25 years ago, I worked with Summer Hill Homes. And it's kind of get into this, representing a seller or looking at the developer. So it's challenging because those deals take years to close.
Right.
And I learned my lesson. Don't count on your commission until the deal is closed. But I learned the patience. I find it fascinating, involving in the process,
right,
and learn it right.
Well, John, I know your name is very well known in the community and very well revered. How is the Milpitas market different, say? We just talked offline before we came into the studio about different projects that are going up in the city. What's unique about Milpitas?
Well, since I've been living in this city for so long and have a strong emotional attachment, and I happen to build some of the project myself in Milpitas, and I think there are areas I think I can beautify or add value or be an economic engine. And also, I find this city is very friendly, very it's kind of progressive, and also it's so convenient, accessible from the East Bay and the South Bay.
Okay.
And I believe the daytime population here is just tremendous. You have so many employees, the high-tech industry. But at that time, 20 years ago, there's not that many good restaurants and all this stuff in Milpitas,
Well,
right?
it's really changed, yeah.
Yes.
Right. And so how have you seen the commercial real estate business and market here in Milpitas change over the course of years? Are things different today than they were when you got started?
Well, when I started in 1996 and being the marketing director for Milpitas Square at 880 and 237, there's no Chinese restaurant over 10,000 square feet.
Really?
And there's no Chinese supermarket over 20,000 square feet. And now with a big supermarket, with a big restaurant, it just makes it so attractive, and people drive 1 hour to visit Milpitas.
All right. Let's talk about your career. So what challenges have you talked about don't count on the commission until it's closed. I have the same deal. That's a challenge. What other challenges do you find in the commercial real estate industry for yourself?
There are different aspects of the commercial activities. When you get into a leasing situation, it can be frustrating finding the right tenant for the property. So repositioning an old shopping center or creating a new shopping center, the tenancies, it takes a lot of work to figure out who's the right tenant to move in the mall or to move into a building, So my challenges is when we look at a piece of land or we look at a building, what can we do? How can we add value? What is the right tenant, And so I really specialize in tenant representation.
You develop your marketing plan around that creation. You have to develop that and then market that, obviously.
Yes. And we vitalize our old shopping center by injecting a more exciting tenants there. Yeah, that to me is very, very challenging.
Okay, all right. Sounds like fun.
Recently, I put a 85 degrees C, which is an international bakery company in Taiwan and in Asia. We opened up in Newark because they couldn't find a spot in Milpitas. I still would not give up. I still want to find them a right spot. But they opened up, people had to wait for 5 hours to buy bread. That's something I want to put them in Milpitas,
Right. Well, good. Well, it sounds like you get a lot of enjoyment, a lot of rewards out of your work as well. What is it that you really find most compelling about the work that you do?
Well, especially when I look at our growing Asian demographic, but I don't see that many Asian brokers involved in commercial aspect. And so that arena is not really served by the Asian realtors. So I think I feel some void. You're able to give some developer some pointers, some guidance.
Okay. That would make sense. I got to talk about. Thank you for sharing that. You're a planning commissioner for the city of Milpitas, and how long have you been on the planning commission?
This is my 4th year, my final year.
Okay, final. You could apply again, but I want to thank you. I love it when folks not only work in the community, but come back and serve the community. And that's a tough job. I mean, you're planning for the city's growth, and you're planning on, you know, how, I think your key, your role, what you bring to the table as a planning commissioner is great, John. And so how are you able to fill that capacity with the hat that you're wearing as a commercial broker?
Well, it's a balancing act, but the good thing is, since I know the city so well, almost every single corner like you, right? I'm familiar with different commercial locations where they need help.
You probably don't even need to drive the location, you know just where it's at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And being a planning commissioner, I more get into the land use situation. That's our key assignment, to evaluate the land use. And many projects that come through to us is, you know, the big project on Montague, the Wigmore area, where there's a lot of housing element or some mixed-use element. Even I look at challenges, you know, Midtown or Main Street. How can we build up, you know, the Main Street is a key attraction for our city, right? So sometimes I think about it, what are the challenges? How can we overcome? How can we put all the small parcels together and create some kind of a meaningful project, you know?
Oh, good. Good. So you mentioned the Main Street and the transit corridor as a, you know, as a goal or a project that's working on. What are some of the other objectives within the Planning Commission that you see as important to the future of Milpitas?
That's a good question.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I worked with James Lindsay and the planning commissioners, and they have a minibus. We drove around in different commercial locations, including the Murphy's building, some of the obsolete kind of vacant, you know, commercial building, what the city can do something, or what we can do as a planning commissioner, right? Looking at this, you know, some of the depressed area. Even when we go into the McCarthy Ranch, there's a lot of empty boxes. How we can revitalize those areas. So that I feel very proud of providing that momentum, you know.
So it sounds to me the 4 years you've served on the committee, you've watched the city change and the direction and the growth that it's going. Where do you see the future of the direction of the city? Where do you see it heading? We know BART's coming in. That will definitely change the footprint and traffic flow in the city. But what other things do you see, John, in terms of the direction of the city?
I think we can be becoming more economically vibrant as long as we don't stop attracting the right kind of development opportunities or revitalize those depressed areas. Right now, we were talking about how to master plan California Circle, right? Right. It's been like a perennial headache, you know, how do we develop it, right? So I think I can make some contribution or look at the guidelines of potential vision, you know, visioning, you know, provide the visioning for the city.
For economics.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Good. Well, you talk about vision and you're kind of looking out to the future for Milpitas. What sort of goals or future vision do you see for Milpitas in terms of the role of commercial real estate in the commercial market here in town?
I think we are very proud in the fact that Milpitas, we do have the Great Mall, which is pretty famous, and we do have the Milpitas Square, which is pretty famous, and but it's not that many good land location that you can keep developing, right? So everything that we want to develop, we want to be compatible to the neighborhood and make it attractive, make it vibrant, you know. So that's why we were studying the town center. Why we have an empty building for 7 years?
Right.
Right. So what we can do, you know, to make it better, you know.
Right. Are some of the developments that we've seen being successful in some other areas like Santana Row that are kind of multi-use, is that something that you see as part of the future perhaps here in Milpitas, or is that a unique
Where they
sort
live
of
and have those are work, live units, or mixed use commercial.
Right. I think everybody's dream in every city is creating a Santana Row, and whether we can make the Main Street happen, whether because to me you had to have go up and down like a football field, right? And on two sides of the street you have mixed use, commercial and residential above. If you can create that kind of environment, make it attractive, make it walkable, a landmark location, a destination location, I think that would be great news for the city.
Great. Well, last question would be, I'm assuming you're still going to keep working as a commercial broker here in the city for you and your family, and continue working hard. And if folks want to reach you or contact you, you want to give them your contact information?
Sure, yeah. And my name is John Luke, and my cell phone is 408-858-1888, and my email is john@gdcommercial.com, john@gdcommercial.com. You're welcome to call me. You need any assistance or you look for something, opportunities in our city, which I love so much.
You do, and you certainly do know your business. You're very successful at it. It's nice to know you and be associated with you, especially in that line of work. Commercial brokerage is so unique. You have to have that skill set and combined knowledge to be very successful. And
I remind many younger generations, the young brokers, the young agents, or those who have been in residential for many years, commercial is a very hard work. And you have to persevere and have the passion.
Great.
Well, John, it's been great having you as a guest on our show. We've enjoyed getting to know you better, and
Yes.
You've been a fixture here in Milpitas for a long, long time, and it really helped to make the city what it is today in terms of your work on the commercial end.
Yeah, he really
So
has.
appreciate
And
you being our guest.
As a little thank you gift, we have your own T-shirt.
Oh, thank
you can wear
you.
that in pride. So take that home. Say hi to Jackie for
Thank
me.
you.
And,
Thank you.
look
right.
forward to seeing you
Thank
soon.
you.
Thank you for your time
Thank you,
and your
Debbie.
service to the city.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you.
Through the years, trends and styles may come and go, but the important things remain the same. Generation after generation, consistently there, creating moments and memories to last a lifetime. Like a true friend, the national parks have always been there for you, and now you can be there for them. Support the National Park Foundation and help protect America's treasured places.
I'll tell you, California is one great state, but it hasn't been a walk in the park. I mean, they call me invasive species. Nice, huh? Or hungry pests. Like I'm some kind of bad guy or something. I mean, do I look invasive? No. You should think of me as a culinary tourist. Yeah, I'm sort of a footloose foodie of your fields and trees. I just want to sample the local fare. Just a taste, really. And I'm not the pushy type. People help me get around, mostly on the things they move and pack. Did you know I'm completely vegetarian? Yeah, very healthy. Hungry pests. Oh, gotta run. I do have a lot of mouths to feed.
The truth is, hungry pests threaten to devour California's trees and agriculture. It's up to each of us to learn to leave hungry pests behind. Go to hungrypests.com and get the facts. A message from the USDA.
Come on. See what I mean?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Valley Homes on TV. This is our little wrap-up scenario that we do for the month of. We're in January 2014.
A new year.
New Year, Happy New Year, Todd.
Happy New Year to you as well.
How you doing?
Terrific.
How's the year going so far?
Hey, so far so good. I'm really looking forward to 2014, and this last year actually was a interesting year in the real estate market, a good year in a lot of ways.
Right. Well, there was lots that came out in the newspaper. Economic signs gathering steam.
Yes.
For 2013. Housing solidifies a year's gain. And I think that speaks volumes to what really happened to the year of 2013. I'll go into the housing market and the stats real quickly, but it was a phenomenal gain on all spectrums here in the Valley. So.
Well, yeah, we definitely saw a bounce back, not only in values, but a solidification of the market, absolutely.
So talk to me a little bit. Here's another article just recently, a few weeks ago, Fed Chief Economic Gaining. Why don't you talk about the economic indicators that are...
Well, yeah, the economy really is gaining some ground here. We're seeing some of the indicators. Gross domestic product (GDP) growth is in the 2 to 3% range, which is a healthier sign than what it had been. A little bit lagging for what you'd normally see in a recovery sort of cycle, but we're not stagnant any longer, so that's good. We're starting to see the unemployment numbers come down. We're down to 7% now, unemployment numbers.
And I think maybe predictions for 6% for this coming year also.
Well, yeah, 6%, and the Fed kind of is eyeing that number as well. They're looking at two things: GDP growth of 2 to 3% and unemployment of 6% as their signals to begin to increase interest rates again. So we'll be watching for that as we move forward here, but we're finally starting to see really some solidification of the economic numbers.
Terrific, terrific. Well, let's talk about pending home sales. This is an interesting article in the National Association of Realtors. The NAR chief economist says we may have reached a cyclical low because of the positive fundamentals of job creation and housing formation are likely to foster a fairly stable level of contract activity in 2014. Although the final months of 2013 are finishing off on a soft note, the year as a whole will end up with the best year in 7 years for the market.
Perfect. So, well, and for buyers and sellers, we're returning a little bit more, I think, to a normal market, would you say, in terms of the motivation for properties that are coming on market?
Absolutely.
We don't have this inventory of the short sales in distressed properties like we'd had the last several years.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, well,
Yep.
good.
Good. So I'll give you some quick stats. Here we are for the month of November 2012. Average home price, single family, was $650,000. The median price was $620,000. That shifted a year later in November of 2013 to a number I should have you guess, but I won't do that to you. $718,000 for the average price, and the median price was $650,000. That's a little bit lower than I expected. I think there is some fluctuation month to month, so that is kind of a little bit on the low side. We'll see that pick up here in the next few months. But I'll tell you where really the market rose was the condominium and townhome. The average price in 2012 of November was $336,000, and the median price was $351,000. That shifted to an average price of $471,000 and a median price of $434,000. So if you owned a condo, you did really, really well.
Yeah, those are big turnaround numbers there.
It always surprises me. We've talked about the new growth, a lot of the new build out here in Milpitas,
Right.
and I would have thought that the market would have been oversaturated with the product.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe it's still a good entry level, affordable. And a lot of young families don't even care that much for a yard. They just like that lifestyle that you can just drop and go. So.
Well, I think, yeah, there are some changes in terms of expectations that folks have in terms of the type of housing that they have. The need for a yard and the maintenance and those sort of things. That works for a number of people. But for others, they're busy, they're on the go, and they don't want to have to worry about the maintenance that goes along with that.
Right. Right.
And so we've seen some shifts, I think, from what traditionally we've seen.
So how about interest rates? Where are they going?
Well, I think we'll see them go up during the course of the year, although for the time being, they still are very, very attractive. We're about the mid-4s, about 4.5% for a 30-year fixed, 4 5/8 for the high balance loans. So
good.
So yeah, outstanding. Historically, very, very good. Again, as we see the economic indicators gaining strength, we'll probably start to see interest rates go up. The other thing, we talked about the Fed here earlier in some of their remarks. The Federal Reserve is starting to unwind something they call QE, quantitative easing. And so they're backing off their purchase program of mortgage bonds, and they're starting to unwind that. And that'll also, because of that decreased demand, we'll probably start to see some interest rates creep up with that. Some of that's been baked into the market, though, already, that expectation.
Sounds good. Sounds
All right.
good. So maybe the future looks like interest rates will continue to rise a little bit?
I wouldn't be surprised to see them go up a little bit. Again, they're still historically terrific rates. I mean, the first part of the year here is a great time to buy because, as you said, with the numbers, they were a little bit soft, seasonally in terms of inventory and demand for housing, and still great rates. So it's a good time to jump in.
Right, folks. Todd, let folks know where they can reach you.
Best way to get me, email tflesner@gmwest.com.
And your book.
Yes, my book.
Hold the phone. You've got a book. We've talked about that a couple years ago on the show, and I like the folks to remind them about the fact that you authored the book.
Yes, Mortgages Made Easy. And this really is a Mortgages 101. It helps to answer the question, gives folks a guide to things that they ought to be looking at as they consider a mortgage, and walks them through that process. It's a quick, easy read. And if you're interested...
Can somebody just email you or give you a call and you'll send them a copy?
I'd be delighted to do that.
Terrific. And how about a phone number, too?
408-921-0669.
Wow, what a nice gift. Thank you very much, Todd. That's great.
My gift for the new year.
And if you have anything you want to talk about for 2014 on our Valley Homes on TV show, or you want to be a guest, or anything you want to put on here, you can reach me at Giordano, Giordano, DJ @AOL.com. Looking forward to a great 2014, and we'll see you for our next wrap-up in February.
Yep, and let's go 2014. It'll be a great year.
Great year. Thank you very much.